is for the bragging rights.
Now, so the checklist of what we wanted to see improves, right? We wanted to see the, the supports with agency. So Braum is gone. Well, I think Braum in isolation is really good into the melee supports, really good at dealing with the 2v2s in particular, just has no synergy with these mage junglers, which are the apex of this patch. So that champ being gone is good for the, the series overall and the health of these comps overall. So the Alistair versus Leona, I think they both can have absolutely monster performances this game, so that's good to see. We see agency from both top laners as well. I think that Bio on Nara in particular has been his best performing champion throughout all of playoffs. He's had these really, really good engages. His side lane pressure and his laning phases all been really good on the champion. And Tien on this Renekton, we also what he did when he got played to a little bit and he took 2 towers by himself at the, I think it was like the 16-minute mark. So just a lot of good picks for both sides. I mean, I'm really excited for this game now.
Well, I am certainly as well, because I want to see where the aggression comes from yet again. It started off in mid lane, really favoured Harry, but now he's going to be on another AD carry. Slightly different to the Corki, where you get to be that much more of a lane bully, right? So he gets to pass the baton back over to Fido and showcase, all right, how do you fare in this occasion? And just how much impact the supports can both find, because whilst we know Leona loves to roam, it was a little bit hard for Kurak to try and match that of the Braum last game. But an Alistair is certainly going to try and do just a fraction more.
Now, this is curious by Kevy. So, what are the things you go for on these mage junglers is you start bot, right? You re-clear to the top side, and you always want to end on the top side of the map, right? You want to be on the top side when those second set of grubs spawn. One of the nice things about starting with the chicken golems is, you can get an extra cycle up on your first clear, which is, nice for that first base. But with Kevy's clear, he's going to end up on the bot side of the map, whereas, Schoenfire can be efficient and be on the top side of the map with all his camps cleared when those grubs do spawn. So have to see what it is going to be looking like for this team, because this Renekton is scary in the early games, Gimme, and maybe they want to, avoid that one in these early team fights.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, the Renekton certainly is going to be a bit of a bully, especially those 2 items before he truly falls off, if at all, because we've certainly seen our Demon Renektons in our past, but Nah, definitely going to be a thorn in his backside, keep him at range, be a bit tankier, have some fantastic CC setup, not only for the ganking, but also for those team fights. This is a big one for Kevy as well. He gets himself the Zyra, 200th career game. What a way to reach that milestone. Yeah,
and I would really like to see, just 200 game be a win for him. That'd be very nice to celebrate. But the nice thing for Kevy this game is they did not go for that invade, right? So his path is very clear. His respawns are clear. His camp timings are on time for what you'd really want as a jungler. Last game, that level 1 invade they went for really punished them, and the winners should have been the Bliss bot side, but the fact they died in that 2v2 was, the downfall of the early game for the side of Bliss.
I am curious, though, as to what happens with these first ganks, because Schoenfire already popped his head into mid lane. There's the dash and there's the flash. That's job well done. I've already made mid lane a little bit easier then for Fido. Kevy says the lane to try and respond and do a gank of our own. Alador looks to try and prime this one up. As Lemus just hovers into the wall. In jumps Kurak. That's not what we're interested in. Alador takes a ton of damage as the wave was crashed. But they won't find that trade back.
And the whole time, Schoenfire's just waiting for the crab, and he gets away with that. So, Skimmy, what do you do when you want to combo someone, but he just flies into the wall and disappears? But you can't really deal anything, you can't do anything to that champion all of a sudden. Now Schoenfire, not even going to go for the second crab, just going to go for that base, or maybe chunk out Kevy here.
Yeah, looking for a lot of damage on towards him. So many of the Skittles connecting, and enough to force Kevy to go back to base. That's exactly what Schoenfire wanted to do. And now Alador might be sending Kurak back to base as he's stuck up against the wall. Beautifully times the flash, but pounced on by Violet, who says, job well done. That's my first blood.
Yeah, huge mistake from Kurak there. The fact that he walked by himself to stop that recall when, they know that the bot lane of Bliss is so healthy. And also to Kevy's benefit, he's also really surprised the fact that Schoenfire didn't go for that top crab, but instead wanted to recall because, Schoen is prioritizing his camp respawns, right? He wants to get those ones off the map as soon as possible, and he wants to finish his clear and be at those grubs when they spawn. It's so important that, you be on time all the time, and this top crab really doesn't change what is going to happen in this game right now. So good read by him, and a good way to chunk out Kevy right there.
Once upon a time, we used to have a bit of a mini game over the Scuttlers, right? Or the jungler got 2, GG, they've won the jungle matchup. Not anymore, sadly. It's just a little icing on the cake, right? A little bit of vision. But bigger fish to fry, bigger objectives to claim.
Yeah, absolutely, and the biggest objective is going to be the grubs. We keep talking about it, but no one wants to take the first dragon. That's the consultation prize from being unable to contest the top side of the map. So we're probably going to see just more priority going towards that top side, especially with Bliss being able to push out this bot lane and Alador being freed up from them finding that 2v2 kill onto Kurak in the early game. It is so important for Alador to be able to impact this map, and now that he's finally on this support with agency, he can really start to change the dynamic of this early game.
You certainly can, but it's going to be pretty rough swimming for Limus these early few levels, right? You can see that Violet is always keeping them humble, getting a CS lead, utilizing that Sheen proc, making sure that that 1 kill advantage goes in his favor. But we've seen this story a few times, and Limus also has been on the receiving end, right? Remember that game I will never forget where him and benV together looked to punish King on the Smolder, and he couldn't do anything. Was like, what, level 1 for the first 5 minutes. But the Smolder always finds a way to become relevant. As long as they can get to 200 stacks, I think GranZero are the best at farming his waves. If that happens, maybe, just maybe, they win. He's under siege again, however, as Kevy looks to try and set up the fight in his favor. Good flash away, protects him for the meantime. And now they found what they were after. The flash is being burnt. And that's a free ticket in for Schoenfire to say, with these objectives, you're not contesting.
Beautifully played by Kurek there. The fact that he lands the, the Zenith Blade onto Kevy to be able to get out of that gank, did not have flash to himself. So if he was comboed by Aldora, compared that with the Stranglethorns coming out of Kevy, that would have been him falling down. But escapes out of that one, and all of a sudden, they are really chunked out. This bot lane is looking so difficult, Skimmy.
It really is looking difficult, but yeah, as we said, right? I mean, this is GranZero that are so great at hitting those waves. They'll always find a way to become relevant, so I don't think there's a doubt of when he'll get the 225 stacks. It's more so at what point, and will the game be done by that stage, right? But we are seeing that the games are getting a little bit longer now. Now starting to scale on up, and these crit scalers may just be the difference.
I think the new Smolder, well, I wouldn't say the new Smolder, the reworked Smolder, I think his changes came out on like 14.10 or 14.11, something like that. It's not the old Smolder, right, where he hits those 225 stacks and it's just like, all right, GG, we lost, guys, hands up. Yeah, we've been outscaled. It's more so like he comes online, it's really nice when you get that 100, spikes, so you can farm much quicker, and then, the rest of the spikes throughout the rest of the game are just going to make you stronger. It's not going to make you OP. I think that Smolder, as the game goes on, when you do get to those, huge amount of stacks, the 400 plus, the burn true damage, and then the execute actually start to add up, and you do, especially with the amount of AoE coming out of this team, can find these kills. If a Requiem goes out on a Smolder Q, all of a sudden the burn proc is, the threshold is really, really hard to deal with as the squishy champions on the enemy team. There's only like, what, one true tank on the side of Bliss in the Alistar, so if this game does go long, Skimmy, I am once again afraid for what it looks like on the side of Bliss, because, if we do not see Harry go for that defensive build where we saw the Bloodthirster second come out of Limus and then scale up into the game, he could be a target for this team in GranZero.
He certainly could be, not only just a target for Schoenfire, but also for Tien. I think if this Renekton has a fantastic early game, it just absolutely destroys anybody that Bliss look to try and, step up against. There's a nice Zenith Blade around on Violet. He's forced to cleanse and flash away to safety. Well, just use the Arcane Shift in this occasion as he retaliates back and make sure that Kurek walks away worse for wear. But the blue was the prize. It's what they went for. It's what everybody's come together for.
And now this is, quite sad for Schoenfire, right? He went out of his, his full clear path to try and steal a camp, but he didn't get it. So all of a sudden his timing, his efficiency throughout this game has been put off guard. And this is, not what we really see from Schoenfire. He's always trying to get his camps first before he goes for something aggressive. So this is a different look, and maybe, an evolution we're going to see throughout the series, but this all in.
It is an all-in. Both ultimates being committed here in the top lane as Bio switches back to Mini, so his kill pressure does diminish a whole bunch as a result of that one. So, bit of a nothing burger in the end. A chance to see what they can find more so than anything, as Harry has to be respectful in the mid lane. His flash is back up and available again, after having it burnt very early on from that roaming Karthus. But a much more quiet early game compared to what we've seen. Game 2 was really all about chaos and craziness. Game 1 was the biggest stomp. Game 3 maybe the more measured of them all.
Yeah, no, this is a different look, right, Skimmy, because we're used to seeing, Harry have a lot more pressure in the mid lane. Even in the last game, didn't really have it in the matchup, right, but he had that with the Aladora pairing up with him in mid and finding those kills on the Fighter. But this game, Fighter not having to go for any defensive options in his matchup, right, he's building purely to do damage and to find, really good trades. So that's the nice thing about laning into these champs like Zeri, who offer no presence in the lane. You can be greedy and you can get away with that, and that's very nice for GranZero, because so far throughout the series, their only weak point has been in the mid lane, and now that all of a sudden Fighter has got through the hardest part of this lane, is going to scale immensely into this game. This is, very, very good looking for GranZero so far.
Imagine we hit the point where we say, you know what, forget any champion that uses Trinity Force, we just want crit scalers all over the map, and then we had the most passive, like, LCK style game of them all. Might break a record, not for the quickest one, but for the longest one, as we've been held hostage there for hours, I'm sure. It is, as you mentioned, very important to get through that laning phase. Has been a bit of a weakness of theirs that they've stemmed the bleeding on for this occasion. Kurek then to go for a nice little roam, not level 6, It's no risk of that Solar Flare landing just yet. Aladoric, however, does have that ultimate up and available, and was hoping to do the same in mid lane.
4v4 on the grubs here. Everyone is pretty much even in terms of spikes. Shernfire is the main power of Ground Zero, has that completed item already, whereas Kevy always going for those tier 2 groups before anything else. So have to see what happens, because Bio does not have that Narbar right now, and they really need that one to be able to contest these grubs.
Yeah, they really are relying on that Nara to get involved at this stage, because 3 grubs went the way of Ground Zero for the first spawn. The second spawn is up. That one keeps resetting, jiggling between Ground Zero's attention or Bliss's aggro threshold. And really is relying upon these top laners to poke their head in. They both have their ultimate up and available. Mega soon to follow. Feels like a fight is about to occur.
Yeah, and we just see Tien playing goalie here on Bio. You know, he drops the pink ward, so it's really hard to walk in, but does pop the Narbar there, but Aladoric
right into the back line, found what he's after, and Shernfire is removed. That is the flash, a lightning crash to follow. As the Requiem will drop, it will tickle them at this very early stage, even with the Blackfire torch having been picked up, and it's not enough to deter Bliss from going for those grubs.
And that's just the easy pickup. You know, Shern didn't have flash there, so he gets punished, gets taken down, because we saw him burn that one when he went for those blue invade earlier. And all of a sudden, you know, what looked like this 44 standoff, the moment Shern falls down, everyone just goes back to their respective lanes like nothing ever happened, and this is finally Bliss having something to win in the early game, and Harry TPing back to the mid lane. Still doesn't have that shift, but he's absolutely on track to getting these items and being online this game.
He's sitting on your favorite item though, isn't it? The slingshot. You absolutely love that one. So he'll find a bit of success with that to make sure he can get the select shift in just a heartbeat. Blue buff is there, so he can continue to spam out these zaps to be a bit of a menace in the laning phase. But yeah, nothing too much to be lost on the occasion of we've gone for these grubs. We've tied it up at 3 out of 3, but it's not been the classic Ground Zero then pushing 4 different waves, and you go, how are we behind in gold?
I wouldn't even buy the item, Skimmy. I'm too embarrassed to have it in my inventory.
It's that bad.
It's that bad.
Oh no.
I don't really call, you know, if someone posts a screenshot on Twitter of like me having that item in my inventory, it's done. Your career's over.
It's fake. It's photoshopped. It never happened. You heard it here first. There's the clip. And I'm sure you're a man of your word. You're going to stick by that. So much like the Corki skin, they're just rules to this, right?
There's just rules that need to be followed all the time, you know, especially, I think the Corki skin's a very important one, you know. But yeah, no one really seems to understand it, Skimmy. And over and over again, well, maybe we can somehow track the win rate of the Corki on the AD build, you know, specifically. But, you know, we are having a pretty slow early game this time. We saw a lot more action happening in that last game, but this is the objective up in the Dragon, and shown by no camps on the map. The next thing he wants to go for is that objective.
That he certainly does, and that's why he's in the area here with Purek as they wrestle over some of that bush control. As one gets cleared out, another gets dropped. Really is a fun and interactive time to be a support player these days, right? Oh, your control ward is just a little bit better than mine, but in the end, they do claim it, and what they really are after before that major objective in the Dragon is we just want to keep denying you with this blue buff.
Yep, and there's just going to be another camp stolen away by Shun. You know, we never really get to see Kevy in the enemy jungle stealing away camps because he's just, you know, kept on his toes dealing with Shernfire being so aggressive and trying to steal away any of these camps. And I think that, you know, the CS lead this game at least is being kept together, and that was so important. You know, last game we saw this lead come out from what we saw level 1 with the invade, the fact the camp timing's off. So, you know, while this game is very quiet, we are seeing a tiny bit of a gold lead going towards the Bliss side right now.
There we are. Certainly nothing too big to really scream home about just yet, but nice stun caught mid-animation. Again goes for the slice. No dice on this occasion just yet. But he spins that cold and meek and tries to live for as long as he can. Kevy's is critically low. You wonder for a second there with the Requiem if Tien could have found another opportunity to jump back in, but in the end, the gank proves to be successful.
Yeah, I got a bit scared there for Kevy. He decided to walk in melee range, even though he is playing a ranged champion, so maybe we forgot that he wasn't playing the Maokai this time, but they do find the kill, Skimmy. They do blow another record. That's 2 Carthus ultis and no kills found. That is such a big deal for the champion. You know, not getting those ultimate hunter stacks is so bad for the champion because it's such a long cooldown, especially since you build no ability haste on the champ.
Yeah, it's like a 3-minute cooldown early on, isn't it, right? So it's absolutely brutal. And you really need to find some success with that one, otherwise the Carthus can't balloon into that snowballing conversation. Well, a fairly neutral game in terms of how passive it's been. Objective-wise, it's been traded back and forth, but the next one on the cards is that Herald. And whilst initially started by Ground Zero, it's Bliss that commit more members to the area and claim it for themselves.
And this is what we expected, right? We thought Bliss would win the early game just because they have the Ezreal against the Smolder. They should have more priority around the map. I think that now, at this point in the game, the Smolder has scaled up enough. When the item being completed, you know, you always go for the ability haste stacking early on. We have to see if Lemus does want to go for the Shojin second or, you know, go for some more. You know, we've seen the Rapid Fire as, you know, the ability to be able to navigate that range disadvantage is dealt with against the Ezreal and Corki. But at this point in the game, it's all about scaling, and I think that giving take stock of the game, the fact that you did get 3 grubs, you did get a dragon, they are in a completely fine point to be able to continue scaling throughout this, mid game.
Yeah, to have a fairly neutral game like this, you're going to be pretty content with to say, well, we can just really put it down to who's got the better mechanics and who's got the summoners available to outplay in that penultimate fight to close out this one, because it doesn't feel like we're going to see too much action anytime soon. First item spikes being picked up, though, by the majority of members, as Salk Shoes just done there by Schönfire. So it's certainly the first of many breakpoints for these individuals to feel pretty content about, but you'd imagine the majority of this is going to come once we see 2 items onwards.
Yeah, I think all these champs, or pretty much, I would say all the champs in this game, they all spike at the 2 item point Skimmy, so expect to see that happen. But the aggression happening onto mid lane.
Yeah, Aladork's the one to get pounced upon, just by Kurak, but it is enough to warrant an ultimate to get Alistair out of harm's way. And that's exactly what Grand Zero would have been hoping for, right? Because now the Alistair's incredibly squishy.
Well, they did find the unbreakable Aladork. There is no objective up for 2.5 minutes in the Infernal Dragon, so shouldn't be a punish happening out of the the side of Grand Zero onto Aladork. They shouldn't be putting themselves in positions to go for those engages, but I think they'll still be completely fine to scale up. When we look at what these silence are going to look like, I think that we are seeing that gold lane happen right now, Skimmy, for the side of Bliss, but this is where Grand Zero really shine. It's the mid game and the overall map play throughout this this 16 to 25 minute mark. So we'll have to see what really happens with that gold lead going forward.
Well, that's it. 0-3 right now. Still hunting for a kill, but pretty content to hunt for CS instead, as they'll find their first tower. Harry actually volunteered to go in for this one, and I think he's just dead. The Requiem's going to tick him on down. He lives a little bit longer than you would have anticipated, but enough for Fighter to secure the kill. As Aladork wraps around looking for that headbutt pulverized combo, and there it is. Goes the True Shot Barrage, not to land on anything, but Biped with the second stun guarantees that he wins that fight. Skittles are flying, Fighter is flying, and members are dropping, as in the end it is Grand Zero that say we will win, and now the gold lead is back ours.
Huge misplay from Harry there, Skimmy. The fact that he went under a dead tower, he can clear the wave, of course. He has the static shift, he has the E, so he can, penetrate through those minions, but going under the turret, look at the health, this is an objective that's already dead. He's contesting something that isn't on the map. I thought that there was, maybe the TP that was going to come out on that ward, but the fact that TP is so deep, he buys no time for this one, and he falls down before anything really happens, and it's just really easy for the rest of the members from Grand Zero to collapse and clean up all these kills, and Lemus farming that mid wave, walks to the bot side of the map, farming the bot wave. He's the real winner here.
Absolutely. I mean, going to be very happy to say, well, as the Smolder, my team is winning, I'm farming. What more could I ask for? Quite simply, it does raise the question, what was Harry hoping to achieve with that play at the top lane tower? We'll never quite know, but Aladork knows one thing. I want to kill the support. Jumps in on Kurak. We know that's just the worst mistake to make, as the Strangleforms and the True Shot Bros both get committed. But they can't find the kill as they both flash to safety.
And they do get out, but that's still going to be the priority on the objective for Bliss. Not a lot of ults being committed there either. Only well, I would say 3 ults, but on the other side of Ground Zero, there is a lot of cooldowns happening there, and the fact that all of a sudden Bliss do have the control of this objective, they do have the priority in the bot side of the map, and they can answer that midway with Bio, is really big for this objective coming up. But without those ults, Skinny, being on both sides of the map, I think this is going to start to favor Ground Zero when we look at the inventories, especially Fighter. He's so strong right now.
He's very, very content, isn't he? Got the most gold in the game, only closely followed there by Lemus. And you can see a bit of a drop-off then for the Bliss members who are hoping to try and be the difference maker on this occasion. But to be close to 3k up as a team already showcases once again, like you mentioned, their mid-game is simply impeccable.
And I'm not like a Smolder, genius. I do not know what the stacks should really look like, but I think the fact that he is above 10 CS or 10 stacks per minute is a really big deal for the champion, because, the fact he's really going to come online at that 21 minute mark with those 225 stacks, does have 2 items in his inventory alongside his, carry partner in Fighter, is such a big deal for what these team fights are going to look like going forward, because Aladork did go for that locket build, so while he is going for the correct item into the Karthus, he's not as tanky as he would be on the, having the Warmogs.
Absolutely. It's the dream to nullify that ultimate, but at the cost of your own ability to be individually incredibly strong. There is that Shojin, however, completed here by Lemus. You should imagine a rapid fire cannon is on the cards for that third item, but at this stage, so much CDR, so much ability just to be that true spell slinger now.
Yeah, and that's just what we're going to really look like in these team fights, as we do see another slingshot in the inventory, Skinny. Uh-oh. Another one. No shame.
Well, Fido, he doesn't really care. He says, I've got the Doran's Blade, I've got the coal, I deserve to have a slingshot, you know what? I'm a kid at the end of the day. I want to have a little bit of fun in the park with my mates, getting roasted here by Tally on the car.
Undefended, unable to respond, but you know, I think I want to touch on Harry's build. So we do see him go for the very classic, you know, Shiv into Hurricane build, where you can farm really fast, you accelerate getting other items because your tempo is, you know, so high. But you know, maybe it might be the wrong read of how these team fights are going to work, Skimmy, because if we look at what this is really happening, they do not have a lot of damage to commit to these kills, but they do have to commit all their abilities. But Kurak,
what on earth did I just watch? The great escape from Kurak. They all jumped across. He went the other way and said, watch this, guys. I'll do a magic trick. I will summon Tien, who will clean up this fight for us. Right, guys? So as he falls on down, it's Lemus
Avengers.
that showcases, look, boys, we have a whole army. So you can't do much about this one. Forget that tower. Oh, actually, no, we respect that tower. We won't dive you any further.
And this, you know, potentially could be the Baron going. It doesn't look like it because we see Lemus teleporting back to mid lane, so they want to maintain control of the map. They're going to lose the spot lane turret from what we saw, but Ping's going onto the Baron here, CME, and this is probably going to be the objective going down if we do not see the teleports out of the side of Bliss being committed. Harry's respawn time is pretty short, 12 seconds left on that one. Do not think they do objective fast enough.
I don't think so. And you mentioned before not being that much of a Smolder connoisseur, but I saw 228 stacks. So this is an incredibly strong dragon, to say the least, as that Baron is not long for the world.
Violet.
It's gone. It's smite secured there by Schönfire. As the burn comes out, the execute threshold is getting closer and closer as Kurak tries to make that one secure for them. He arcane shifts to safety, but there is no safety to be found. Double picked up by Lemus. Baron secured on all 5 members, and they'll take 2.
And once again, we see Bliss having the control in the early game, but Tien on the side lane, no ult, no flash, Skimmy. Might be him going down.
Can Vi finally think he doesn't have the flash, but he has the ultimate. He just needs to get in range. But Tien is so quick, but he can't outrange Anar. He can outrange Zeri. And they eventually remove at least one member. As Lemus says, well, watch this. And it just gets interrupted on the tail end there by the Zyra ult.
Doesn't get the last Q off the final execute onto Kevy, but still blowing the flash, getting priority in the mid lane. This champ is online. He is so strong now. You know, look at the items and inventories. He's on par with Ezreal, but he hasn't recalled. He hasn't spent his money from that Baron teamfight win. And this is the problem with this champ scheme. We keep seeing the Ezreal, you know, going even, doing a good job, getting priority, allowing support to roam. But we hit those, you know, even at this point, I hold my point is that fight is going to pop off here.
It does look like a fight is about to break out. There is no dragon to play for, but this is Ground Zero just rotating their pressure from mid into bot, where wave is prepped and primed to go. Fighters made sure of that one. There's Hero make light work of the wave to clear it out with that 2-item builds. But yeah, I think at this stage, the Smolder is more of an issue.
Yeah, absolutely going to be more than an issue. Curious to what Lemus wants to go for his third item though. You know, is it going to be something? Does he want to go for the defense item? I know Lemus as a player always likes to go for the, you know, like the bloodthirsters, the shield bows, the options that give the enemy no chance to kill him because he's always so good at farming, always so good at getting experience. So his the fact that he is so farmed allows him to build defensively and still output a same amount of damage. But Bio,
I mean, in what world do you see an AD carry just literally leap in front of a bruise and say, they're crazy? He just doesn't care. He will farm like you would not believe. Has the most in the game, second to none. And he's just rotating with the team. Always there for protection. It's up to Bliss to try and find an answer back into this one. Bio is under threat. He's getting closer to Mega, but Sterix gets popped instead. Shon's not here, bear in mind, so this will be a straight 5v4 defense in favor of Bliss. But they just sacrifice.
and this just feels so hard for Bliss, right? All of a sudden they're outranged. They do not have like the silent priority to find those flanks from the Zeri or the the Gnar if they wanted to. They don't really win the front to back either because there's a Bloodthirster being completed by Lemus. So he's so strong. He's also so hard to kill. And I think that, while Bliss have prepared a good draft, I just think, once again, it's just coming down to scaling Skimmy every single game.
I know, and it's just frustrating to say as like a cop-out, Ezreal's the issue because it does so well in the early game, but it just feels like if we are going the distance every single time, give yourself that hyper carry and let yourself be at the star of the show. We know that Violet has that in him, but a clear conscious decision from the Bliss draft that they want that fine balance.
And this might be Bliss, what Bliss feels like is their last chance to really attack this game. They're grouping up as 5. This isn't the sole point, but this is an objective fight. This is going to be the 5v5. This is what they want. This is their time to shine, Skimmy. And we have to pay attention to their setup because Aladoric doesn't have the flash to himself, so it's really hard to get onto Lemus. But also Lemus, no flash. Tien with the flank, coming in the bot side of the map. Violet, no summoners here.
Violet's in a lot of trouble right now. Very early arcane shift out for safety, and he is saying Solid Player won't connect. Fido instantly evaporates Biopember, who hits the ultimate, goes Mega, but it's just not enough. He's not tanky, and it's going to be a complete wipe here from the get-go by Grand Zero. Too strong, too squishy, and too easy to take on down.
And they can't even kill Kurak, Skimmy. This is only the 25th minute of the game, right? This is the 2-3 item spike. This is not even the worst of it. It's not even when the scaling really starts to kick in, but it doesn't even matter. Ground Zero have kicked it up a gear. They have, you know, just once again read the series really well. They have drafted scaling. They recognize these games are going the distance. And it just looks so one-sided in these team fights.
It's just crazy to me, the fact that you can destroy Ground Zero as quickly and as cleanly as you did in Game 1, and you think, yeah, that will stick. That'll do a little bit of mental damage to them. They answer back Game 2 with their best champions, all their pocket picks, their Apex options, if you will. They look good on it. And now they come to Game 3 and say, we'll change a few different picks here and there. Scaling is the focus, and they're crushing you at 25 minutes. Lee Mulder, it's back.
Are we going to see the Lee Mulder Penta skimmy? Are we finally going to see it again?
I really do. I really fingers crossed.
That would be the dream. As they are oversaying, you know, they do not need to base. They, even though they haven't reset up this last fight, they're still up in, you know, effective income. They still have more items than their opponents, so they can stay on the map. They can't be greedy because there is no gold lead, or there is no, you know, unspent gold in their inventories that will really change the game state right now. Oh, Bio.
What can they do to try and get themselves back to this one? Bio just looks at the ultimate, combines that with the True Shot Barrage. That's beautifully well done. Bio survives unless Tien tries to snipe him. No, the Requiem's going to end the party. Big one snipes it away for Phyto as Tien has the funnest time as a bruiser in the backline. Occupies all three members. Out comes the mum. Mum says hello, gives Ezreal a pat on the back and farms up a triple. Now, stuck against the fountain is Harry, having to literally 1v5. But he's close to execute range, and there is the quadra.
And it's as easy as that. Lee Mulder is back. It's so... I think it's a mistake to allow Lemus to have so much freedom on the spot lane, and we keep seeing this Ezreal. 1-2 pick for Bliss every single draft. And Lemus, you know, not once has he prioritized his champion. He is happy to play scaling. He's happy to play early game into it. He has the pick of the litters of what he wants to do for this draft, and so far he's had the read of the series, and he's been the MVP of the series so far for me.
That he certainly has there, Tally. What a phenomenal way to answer back. Now 2 games on the bounce here for Ground Zero to showcase that, yeah, you can crush us in Game 1. It does not phase us. That's what champions are built off. They've shrugged it off beautifully, and they've stuck to their guns in the end. And now, you've really got to wonder what is in store for this next matchup.
I'm very curious to what's going to look like, Skimmy. I think there needs to be a change. I think there needs to be, you know, is the answer really just the one scaling pick that'll change the dynamic of this game? Because what we're seeing so far is just not working.